Well, like Congressman Lundgren said about being able to stand up with Reagan when Reagan was running, it would be an honor, and it has been an honor for me to stand behind members like Congressman Lundgren. They have cut the ice. They have paved the way for people like me to run for seats that are competitive, but are contender seats, and it is an absolute honor, Dan. It really is, and I'm grateful for all the support. Now, for those of you who don't know the district as well as I do, the new 3rd Congressional District consists of Yuba County, Sutter County, Glenn County, Colusa County, almost all of Yolo County, Alberta and Rio Linda in Sac County, then up to 99 on the southern part of Sac County, and then shoots down to Rio Vista in Solano County and comes back around and takes in northern Lake County. Yes. So there are 8 counties in this congressional seat. Now, the Cook Report, I'm very pleased to say, is going to be releasing some new data on this seat, but the last time they released data, it was a D+1 and a likely seat. So I hear there's going to be some new data released very soon, so let's keep our eyes open for that. But we're really excited with our most recent numbers and the fundraising. We crossed the $1 million threshold with our event last night. The Speaker of the House was here, and we raised about $225,000 in Woodland with a population of 50,000 people. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. For those of you that don't know, I am a county supervisor up in Colusa County. I was one of the only supervisors about 18 months ago who stood up to our beloved Governor Moonbeam when he marched into our CSAC board meeting and told us we were all going to take realignment and like it. And I said, no, thank you. And I sat there for about 4 hours being told why I was wrong. How many of you in here are going through your adjustment periods with AB 109 right now and feeling the effects of the prisoners being brought back into our counties? And that is the #1 reason why I stood up and said no that day. So I have no problem fighting the institution. I will be here to serve the constituents of the 3rd Congressional District and always do what's right for them. I have this wonderful, wonderful 9-year-old son. And when I look at him, I know what my grandfather, as a World War II veteran who was kept on the march during the last 3 weeks of the war, went through. I know what my dad, as a Vietnam veteran, went through. And I refuse to sit by and let the 19th most liberal member of Congress be the representative to the 3rd Congressional District, let alone mine. So that's a little bit about why I'm doing what I'm doing. And let me tell you one more story, because I could echo everything that Dan said, because it's so where we are. And this is the most important election of my lifetime, not just because I'm running, but because the future generations and what we're leaving to them and what we have to do to show them that this is worth it, no matter how long our days are, no matter how aggressive the trackers get. And I, too, have the privilege of having someone who loves to follow me around and shove a video camera in my face. My dad ordered him some pizzas at my last board meeting, 19 of them to be exact, and had them delivered one at a time over a 4-hour period. So that video strip of the tracker has me smiling an awful lot. I just sit up there the whole time, just all smiles. About 12 years ago, I sat across the table from a Russian immigrant. It was over a land dispute down here in Elk Grove, as a matter of fact. He was first-generation immigrant. He was about 70 years old. He had worked 3 jobs during some points of his life to pay the mortgage on this piece of property. This piece of property was his kids' college fund. It was his retirement. It was his future. And a regulatory agency was overreaching in their statutory authority and taking about 85% of his property away from him. Now, as I sat across the table from this gentleman, watching tears stream down his face and not seeing an ounce of emotion out of one of those bureaucrats, or even an ounce of recognition as to what they were doing to him, or what they were doing to his life or his future, I knew I had to do something about that. I spent 18 months on this one issue, and I fixed it. He got to use over 90% of his property. I have never met someone like this man before. He held my hand and said, Kim, I left Russia because of what they were doing to me. Now your country is doing it to me here. I don't know what to do. Help me. And we fixed it. And I knew in that moment that I needed to not only work in the private sector, but dedicate myself to public service because I knew I could make a difference, just as each and every one of us can. We have to put in the work to make that difference. We can't do this. Dan and I and all of us can't do this alone. It's not about us. It's about your business. It's about your county, and it's about your future. We need you in there making the calls. We need you walking precincts. We need you at our fundraisers. We need help every step of the way. So I put it back on you as much as you put it all on us to get it done. We're only as good as our worst volunteer day. So call 10 of your friends, 20 of your friends, ask them to call, make calls, walk precincts. We have a really good time in our Vacaville office. There might be some wine once in a while. So if you want to come down and make calls with any of us, we're happy to help. But let me just tell you one quick thing. You know, NRCC, the National Republican Congressional Committee, has dedicated a tremendous amount of resources to protect members like Dan and to help people like me get into these seats. We have VoIP phones set up in our offices so that we can make mass amounts of calls and track every single call on a computer. We have a lot of declined estates and independents that we need to go after. They have an office open for mine up in Yuba City in Sutter County and one in Vacaville. Dan, where are yours? Right next door. Right. So see how easy? When we're done, we'll just I'll go next door and start making calls. But it really does make a difference. When you have over 200,000 calls that you have to get out to, and you know, when you have 5 or 6 people in each office working on it, or 10 or 20, it sure gets it done a heck of a lot quicker. We can track it. We know the ones we have. We know the ones we need to go after. But again, it comes down to your willingness to help us. Dan and I, unfortunately, have to spend most of our days on the phones dialing for dollars, and you know how much we like doing that. So it's time-consuming. It's hard work. It's really hard work some days, but let me tell you, this is the single most important thing outside of having my son that I've ever done in my life. So I'm grateful to be here, and I look forward to victory in June, not only for Dan, but for myself. So thank you very much.